Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to North Sports Dynasty. We are your hosts, Andrew Fulbear. That is me, the Ginger Wonder. And this is the other host of North Sports Dynasty, Alex Loosemore. How we doing today, brother?
Oh, not too bad. There's a lot going on. There's NHL, NBA playoff pushes, big UFC card tonight, 3 title fights, CFL return news. There's a lot to go over.
Yeah. And you guys know we're going to get right into it. But first, if you don't know where to follow us, you can check us out on YouTube. We're always live on YouTube, always live on Facebook, on the North Sports Dynasty page. We are actually just come check us out. We are literally sharing the show as we go. Boom, onto Twitter. It is there. I am going to now go here and share it on to my page. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So you can find it now across Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook on all the North Sports Dynasty pages. You can also follow us there, like and follow. And then you can also follow us individually. Him is at Loosemore65.
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting good at that.
We're getting the hang of it.
I am. And then me is just literally Andrew_Fulbear. It's nothing too crazy or anything like that. And then we only got a couple of things to update you on first before we get into it today. And the first couple of things to update. There we go. I smoke cannabis before my shows because I get nervous, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay? I'll admit to nothing else. Admit to nothing. Just like I admitted to the cop the other day. Nothing. Yesterday, I got pulled over.
Oh, good God.
I was coming home, and on one of the exits, they had cops, and it was just like, you did 101 in a 70 zone. I'm like, yeah, I'm completely aware. Like, I ain't even gonna. Duh. So, yeah. Before we get into the major stuff that Alex got, remember we got the NFL draft bracket coming up next week. We both got
5 days away.
5 days. Oh, is it 5 now? It is 5 days away. Jesus.
Wow. That came quick.
Yeah. And so is the pick for your Lions is going to come right quick, dude. Number 7.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have us live for the first and second day, whether it's just me and you talking to ourselves the whole time or whether we got like a bunch of people joining us. We're going to cover this draft the best that we can and talk the dynasty aspects of what it is going to be.
Absolutely.
And the draft bracket, ladies and gentlemen, remember you can win and you will be able to win jerseys we got right here. Or at least I got right here.
Yeah.
I don't have them.
I'm just saying, I hope nobody sent theirs in because thanks Baltimore and Kansas City.
Yeah, we'll fix ours, which I was actually planning on doing before this show, but I got too tied up in trying to do everything else, which is not a shot at Alex. Don't ever think that's a shot at Alex. I just literally have everything else here, so I have to get everything set up. So here's the jerseys. There you got your gig 'em right there. And our Cam Newton, we also decided to buy a draft hat. All of that is going to go to the winner. There is no second place winner in here. We don't give participation awards, but technically we are this year giving away a participation award. Interesting. Anyways, thank you for participating this year. So we're going to give you some awards if you do and you get it right. The point scheme this time around, now that I actually know it, Jesus. So, every correct answer that you get, non-trade, will be worth 10 points. So, if you get both of them right, 20 points. Okay? In a trade situation, if you got both of them right, then you get the 2 bonus points. Okay? So, the 2 bonus points is 10 points per one that you get right. But we also take away points if you don't get them right. So that means we minus them for you. So that means you'll get none. Absolutely 0. So the most you can win in a normal guess is 20 points. The most that you can get in a trade is 40 points. And if you get one right in a trade and the other one wrong, you will at least base yourself on 0 points. So at least you save yourself from, getting minus. Because then if you do a trade and you get both wrong, minus 20 points to you, that's not good because you're going to need those points later on. So make sure if you want to do a trade to make sure that you do the trade properly. I also said I would write this down and I didn't. I apologize. It's on my board. I have a list of things. I'm just going to get to it today. All right. Just like we should just get into it today. All right, Alex, we got some news across the league, and we actually just got a big one that we saw come across our timelines. So, Alex, why don't you let all of our fans here know exactly what has been going on in the sports world?
I'm going to start off with that big one.
Yeah.
So we'll start off in the NHL with the Oilers, and it's not good news. So Oscar Klefbom went down with a shoulder injury, underwent successful shoulder surgery in March, spoke with the media yesterday, and he acknowledged that he might not play again. Said that it was a very intensive surgery. He's going to see where he's at with rehab by the time the next season starts. Going to keep following up with doctors. He's optimistic, but he says he doesn't know at this point. There's nothing he can guarantee there, which is unfortunate because he's a really good defenseman for the Oilers, and that's a big hit for them if he can't play anymore. The only other real NHL news I got is Red Wings news, and it's bad for the players, but good for the team when we're trying to tank. So arguably the best two players left on the team, Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi, they're both done for the season. They both have upper body injuries. Larkin's going to get checked out in like 3 weeks, I think it said, and Bertuzzi might need surgery. It gives a lot of playing time for these young guys that are going to be competing for spots when we start being an up-and-coming team in the next couple of years. And it helps us slide down in the NHL standings, I'm not going to lie. So, it's good and bad. We'll go to the NFL next. That big trade we were talking about. It seems to happen every time we bring out a mock draft now. There's a trade on that day. So, yesterday, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens made a trade. The Baltimore Ravens sent star tackle Orlando Brown Jr., pick 58 in the second round, and a 2022 sixth rounder to Kansas City for picks 31, 94, 136, and a fifth round pick in 2022. This is a win for all three sides if you include Brown, I think. Yeah. Because when Ronnie Stanley, the Ravens left tackle, went down last year, they slid Brown over to the left side, and he was an elite left tackle. He's a freaking monster. I don't know how he couldn't be successful over there, but
yeah, highly elite.
Yes, like top of the top. So after that, when they said they were going to slide him back to right tackle, him and his family came out and said they weren't happy about it, that it's going to be a detriment to him and the team, which was weird to me because it's like, if you're not going to play, you're not going to get paid. So
yeah, exactly.
But he wants to play left tackle, wants to get paid like a left tackle, which there is a big difference between left tackle and right tackle in terms of pay.
Very much so. Very
extremely. And Kansas City gets their left tackle. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. They're gonna have to repay him if they want to keep him. But the way they've been manipulating the cap, I don't see how they won't figure that out. And the Ravens get that 31st pick, so they get another 5 years with the right tackle. I'm assuming they're going to pick there.
Hey, they did pretty good when they had the 32nd overall pick that they traded for not that long ago. That's how they got Lamar flippin' Jackson.
Yep.
So, which I even said it in my mock draft 3.0, which guys, you can go check it out now. Mock draft 3.0s are available. It's definitely not going to be what's on our draft bracket because there's a difference between what should happen, which is usually what a mock draft is when you write them up and put it in a blarticle, which is what I'm just basically going to call ours. They're blog and articles because I cuss a lot, and I'm sorry. And that said, ours are up, and the differences is in the NFL draft bracket. There's going to be a couple of other weird trades that I'll probably do. There'll be some picks that, I'm not going to necessarily put down on my board until the very end, the day of. And I'm not switching them. Like, once we have ours, we'll basically put it on the board, take a picture, and be like, this is ours.
We'll lock ours in the same time as you guys have to lock yours in. Like, that's only fair.
Exactly. I ain't going to cheat too much.
No.
So, all right,
we
Alex.
don't win the jerseys if we win. It goes to the top fan. Like,
yeah.
We're just competing to see how we do against you guys. Like,
if we win, we just randomize it to all the people that entered this year. I know someone would be like, well, why didn't you just do like the fan that's the closest? That don't seem right. That don't seem right. At that point I would want to randomize it. Maybe give whoever would be the top fan like a prize or something like that. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
You also have to understand that we only have so much money because we spent a lot to produce this show, guys. So
maybe if we win, split the prizes up, do the 2 jerseys and the draft hat as 3 separate prizes, randomized to 3.
Ooh, see, this is the reason why I have him aboard, ladies and gentlemen, because I wouldn't have thought of that at all. So, all right, Alex, what else we got in the news?
Okay, so sticking with the NFL, they came out either this week or last week and said that they're changing the rulings on jersey numbers. They were really strict before. Now they've loosened it up. So I've got the groups and number options here. So quarterback is still 1 to 19. That hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs, wide receivers are 1 to 49 are available, and 80 to 89. So running backs, especially before, they weren't able to have the single digit numbers. They were 20 to 49 and then 80 to 89 now because of people like Ty Montgomery, stuff like that switched from receiver to running back. Now, if they wanted to, players like Christian McCaffrey, who wore 5 in college, Derrick Henry, that wore number 2 in college, just for examples, they could go back to those numbers if they wanted. And I don't understand why they were so strict before. I'll get to my thought on it after.
Mm-hmm.
But tight ends are 1 to 49, 80 to 90. Actually,
Oh, that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. It happens to Alex. We thought we got it out of the way, but this makes for good content. So, what's that? Hold on. The 13:20 mark, Alex freezes. But no, with regards to what he was talking about, I just got to make sure he comes back here. Because no dead radio is good radio, of course. Oh, there he is. You back? You good?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it only happens like twice every
Well, it didn't happen last week
or the week before that.
Yeah, we were on a roll here. I don't know what's up.
To our American friends, understand that we have Canadian internet, so it's got to go through like mountains of igloos, and it's really hard to plug into just pure snow, especially when it's springtime where we're at and it's all melting. Like, we're literally all homeless. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear the water that's currently melting all around me. My walls pretty soon here are just going to give way, and you guys are just going to see pure sunshine outside. Alex's apartment building, everybody's going to have to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't help when it drops 15 degrees day to day. Like,
yeah, and it fluctuates. Like, I love April.
17 to 2. Like,
Aprils are so funny. They're so bipolar. They're just all right, there, Alex. Continue.
Anyways, so the only numbers that should really matter, I said offensive and defensive line. I think strictly offensive line, just because a lot of the time these guys aren't eligible to touch the ball. So if you've got running backs wearing 50 or whatever, then it just kind of, it seems weird to me, especially playing offensive line for as many years as I did, to have an ineligible number handling the ball. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so they're 50 to 79 still. Defensive line still 50 to 79 and 90 to 99. Linebackers are now 1 to 59 and then 90 to 99. Defensive backs are now 1 to 49. And then kickers and punters are still 1 to 19. I think this is just the NFL easing up. There's nothing really noteworthy about it. It's good for the players. If they want their number now, they can have it.
See, and for someone like me, when I eventually want to coach, and me and you have talked about, the way that I want to coach, and you're like the only one that hasn't laughed at me, but internally I know you do. Like when I say, 2 quarterbacks running the ball on the field at one time, like back in the day when you had like a fullback and a running back and a quarterback. Yeah. Now you got 2 mobile quarterbacks that can flip it and run. What are you going to do? I like this idea of the number change for like the linebackers and the cornerbacks, because now I'm just going to fill my whole defensive backfield with Isaiah Simmonses and give them numbers from 1 to 10. And I'm going to love every damn moment of it.
If you can find that many Isaiah Simmons, good luck to you.
Oh, man. It's going to take a few years, obviously. And this people who will watch this show will understand my love for players that don't necessarily have a position. If I could personally have an XFL team, I would get Braxton Miller. I would get Percy Harvin. I would have gotten Tim Tebow. You would have given me Buchanan back in the day. You give me Isaiah Simmons and a couple of these other guys coming up. Well, I would have won you a title and something for damn sure.
You're just going to just outrun everybody?
They wouldn't even
a track team.
They wouldn't even know what to do. Like Braxton would, line up as a quarterback, and Tebow would line up as a tight end, and it would just be a quick little, handoff, and then Tebow's all of a sudden your quarterback again, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, darn it! I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this." All right, buddy. What else you got?
So to move back to the Chiefs, Tyrann Mathieu has been vocal that he wants an extension. He wants to stay in Kansas City. I mean, who can blame him? The Chiefs have come out and said, wait until after the draft. Let's see how the draft goes, and then we'll talk extensions. Which to me, my first thought that came up, and I don't necessarily agree with it, was maybe the Chiefs go safety in the draft. One of these guys like Trayvon Merrick, Caden Stern, someone like that. So that might be something to watch out for. And then the Panthers, well, there's some 5th-year option things here. So Sam Darnold is still waiting on that 5th-year option. The Panthers are going to wait until after the draft, pretty much the deadline, May 3rd, which I believe is Monday.
Of course.
And they're going to sit and wait. So don't count out quarterback to Carolina, I guess.
Not when you're sitting at number 8. And if I'm Carolina and Trey Lance all of a sudden is just there at number 8, I was like,
yeah. To me, my thought was if Lance or Fields are there,
yeah,
then
yeah,
which would be interesting because it's like, now what do you just see what you have in Darnold, and then if he does well, what do you do with the rookie?
Like I've said before, like you need to pick up that 5th-year option, or wait, no, so he could play this year, and then you can technically pick up his 5th-year option. No.
If you don't pick it up now, he plays this year and is a free agent.
That's what it is. Okay, so
if you pick it up now, he plays this year and is still under contract next year.
That's what it is. So then, in my opinion, they need to pick it up, because if he does have a good year and you do grab a quarterback, you have this ability that San Francisco does. And now you don't let San Francisco all of a sudden control the market like that, where they're like, listen, we don't just have to give away Jimmy Garoppolo for nothing, which we want to, but we don't have to, because we have our new successor in the back here. Carolina would be doing the same thing. Like, listen, if Sam Darnold goes off, because as Alex brought up that way, Alex brought up before, Robbie Anderson had his best career season, and Sam Darnold had his best career season when they played together.
And you've got DJ Moore.
Yep.
And McCaffrey. McCaffrey.
Yep.
I think Darnold goes off this year. I personally do.
I do
too. I think that situation happens where they pick Lance or Fields or whatever, and they pick up the 5th-year option, and they're dangling Darnold next year. If you're the NFL teams around the league that need a quarterback, looking at Chicago, potentially Washington, potentially Tampa looking for their successor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if Darnold's on the board and Garoppolo's on the board, 100 times out of 100, I'm taking Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I don't care that Garoppolo's taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl. I am a firm believer that Sam Darnold can still be that upper tier quarterback, that top third of the league quarterback.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Trent Dilfer has led a team to a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl win, I think. But Donovan McNabb has been in a Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick has been in a Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco.
Hey,
he had one good playoff run and did nothing before or after. Don't come at me with that. No.
He was a problem for both Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and company.
Exactly. He had one good playoff run, and then nothing happened after he got his money. Ray Lewis walked away. Terrell Suggs got old.
Ed Reed
left.
Yeah. But still, Flacco, man, he was it. He did it. We got way too much money for that, though. Yeah.
The fact that Flacco at one time was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL is a joke.
God. I mean, Garoppolo was at one point too.
Yeah, and that's also a joke.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers was for literally a day, and then
Russell Wilson was up there.
Yeah, and then Garoppolo came in.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Let me date porn stars here." And yeah. All right, what else you got?
And then still with the 5th-year option thing, the Cleveland Browns have made the smart decision to pick up the 5th-year options on both Denzel Ward and Baker Mayfield. This gives them that extra year to see what they got in them. Because Denzel Ward has flashed top 5 corner potential in his first couple of years, but then the last 2 years he hasn't really been there. He's been kind of on and off the field injury-wise. And Baker Mayfield seems to be taking that next step with all the weapons here. So now you see if he can take that next step on top of that, win a couple playoff games here, and see if he's your guy. Because you're a good enough team where you don't want to tear it down too early at quarterback. If Baker Mayfield's your guy and can win you playoff games, you stick with him. Yeah,
and the Cleveland Browns might do something stupid eventually, where in a year or two, they gave him his 5th year, but then go to the Bucs situation, though it's not as bad, obviously. But let's say that Aaron Rodgers becomes available, and for some reason he just says, screw it, let's go to Cleveland, I'm going to win him a title, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, Baker, we're going to let you walk because it's Aaron fucking Rodgers. No offense, but so
Aaron's here and Mayfield's here.
But that being said, my personal opinion, I don't like Baker Mayfield off the field. I don't like his personality might be cool and stuff like that, but I do see an underlying very petty Johnny Manziel type. That's just me.
Okay.
I know he's a good guy. He does the commercials. He's really funny. I ain't going to take any of that away from him. I just think if I had to be personal with him, I don't think me and him would necessarily get along. But that being said, if someone was born to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns and take them to somewhere I think they could go, it's more than likely going to be Baker Mayfield because he's got that swagger. Because someone someday is going to go in to the dog pound and stomp on the logo, flip off a fan, or something like that. And we've seen it in college with Baker with the flag in the middle of the logo.
That sold me on him.
Yeah.
He's that leader, that swagger, we're going to come into your place, we're going to kick your ass, and we're going to move on.
And that's where me and you disagreed before, because I remember we started talking and I was like, fuck this Baker group. And you're like, no, this is dope. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Now
I like
kind
that
of
now.
agree. Yeah. And I think because of the fan base, because it's the same thing with us Bucs fans. We've been so long in the dumps here that these ultimate teams have just reigned supreme. And we may not be around for a long time, but we're around for a good time. And when we're around for a good time, that's when shit gets real. And these Cleveland Brown fans, if they ever get smacked around like these people used to do, the one thing I can see doing is say Baker ever gets a game-winning touchdown in Baltimore. like in overtime or something
Yeah.
like that. He's going to walk right up to that logo and just stand there like this and look at all those fans and just be like, what kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it'll actually be something that the Raven fans will be like, you know what? Now we're going to have to go at these Brown fans.
It creates a villain in that division.
Yep. And because they've been mocked at the whole time, because they've been, they've been the Browns the whole time. It's the same damn thing that we as the Bucks dealt with, the Saints fans. When we smacked you in the regular season. Oh my God. As soon as that playoff game happened, it was like, Twitter, come here. Where's my phone? Where are you Saint fans hiding? Don't hide from me. Come here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing one day for your Lions. Like those Minnesota Viking fans, we smack you and smack those Bear fans, and then those Packer fans will be waiting.
The Packers.
Yeah, you're waiting. I know. Every division of ours has that one team. Like there's three of our teams. There's three teams that are just waiting for us to get to that next level and beat. Like for us, it's the Saints, and for you guys, it's the Packers, right?
Yeah.
So. All right. I think you got a couple more news here, right?
So to move to the NBA.
Yeah.
A big one that I saw there at the end, Lonzo Ball will be a free agent at the end of the year.
Yep.
And it sounds like he may not be returning to New Orleans. New Orleans has came out pretty much and said that there's a good chance he's available via sign-in trade. So what that means is they'll sign him to that max contract, because re-signing to your team, then so if Ball goes to New Orleans and re-signs that max deal, he gets paid more than signing a max deal in, say, New York, just because the team gets your rights. So they'll do that max contract or whatever the other team thinks he's worth, and then they'll trade him to that team for assets back. You don't see it too often anywhere other than the NBA, really. I think it's a good move. Watch out for Charlotte. I really think if you can pair Lonzo and LaMelo together, that's an awesome duo.
Yes, it's what I want. Like I might be deep down like a diehard Hornets fan. Like it's Thunder and Raptors first, but like the Hornets are a strong third for me, and I've just always wanted to see them do good. And if it means getting like LeVar Ball to sit there and be Michael Jordan's pet while all of his kids play for his team, I don't care anymore. I don't care.
See, here, that's where we disagree. I want Lonzo and LaMelo without LeVar. I cannot stand LeVar. I like the kids.
I agree.
I cannot stand LeVar. LeVar needs to just disappear.
And I also agree. But like it'd be the same thing if my son Maverick all of a sudden was like the greatest quarterback of all time, and he's like, "Listen, Dad, I can't have you around," and stuff like that. And if he all of a sudden became the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hi.
See, here's the thing though. You can be at all the games, you can be front row. I don't care. Stay the hell off ESPN and all this. I don't need to see you on social media, okay? Back off. Let your kids be them.
I would go at Skip Bayless so damn hard. Would you talk about my son, Skip Bayless?
And then speaking of LaMelo Ball, he's set to return from his broken wrist. Spencer Dinwiddie partially tore his ACL fairly early in the season. Says he might be back in time for the playoff push, so that gives another weapon for the Nets, which they don't need.
If they can get everyone healthy, but hey, it's the NBA. Everyone will just so happen to be healthy right at the playoff.
Yeah. Anthony Davis returned the other night, only played in the first half, played 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Stats-wise, he wasn't great, went 2 of 10 shooting, all that. But watching the tape on it, they doubled him. He was just trying to find his shot. What really looked good was his passing. If you're looking at big men in passing, he's right at the top. Him, Jokic, Towns is up there.
Jokic is a god, dude.
Yeah, and he's probably going to win MVP.
Yep.
Let's just be real there.
I would still vote Steph, but yeah.
See, if the Warriors make the playoffs without making that play-in game, then I say give it to Steph.
They're close, so yeah.
They are close. They're very close. A couple – well, I'll do the injury updates first. So Trae Young sprained his ankle. He's out indefinitely, which hurts the Hawks that are right in the middle there, that 5 seed right now in the East.
Yeah.
Trying to make that playoff push. That does not help them at all.
Didn't help my bet the other night either. Thanks, Hawks.
Kevin Durant suffered that thigh contusion last Saturday. He's not playing tonight.
Nope.
There's a chance he could play tomorrow. Denny Avdia, the small forward for the Wizards, the rookie that they picked, broke his ankle. He's out for the remainder of the season.
I thought you were going to tell me something good. I got so many of his cards that are good, too, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, no, that's
all right.
Unfortunate there.
All right.
And then the worst NBA news, technically not NBA yet, but NBA prospect and Kentucky Wildcat guard Terrence Clark was only 19 years old, was in a car crash earlier this week, and passed away due to the injuries. It's unfortunate because he was going to be kind of that mid to late lottery pick. And you always just wonder with those guys what could have been if they had gone to the right situation. Not like it sucks to see, first of all, someone that young go so early, just outside of sports. But to see the young athletes before they made it, because most of these guys, it's their dream to play in the majors, and to not see that happen for him, it sucks. It really does. To move on from that, there's 2 more football things, neither in the NFL. Well, 3 more football things.
Okay.
We'll start with the NCAA. There was talks of expanding the playoff from anywhere from 6 teams to 16 teams. To me, it needs to go to either 6 or 8. Because we're getting 3 of the 4 teams in there every year that are the same. It's football, it's one game. Any given day, you don't know what could happen. I want to see at least 6 teams in there.
Okay.
16 is way too much.
16 is way too much.
Too much.
I think 8 would be okay because the
8 to me is pushing it. 6 is where I'd like to see it.
See, and the one thing I push against that is the only reason for it is because you get the SEC, you get the Big Ten, you get Pac-12, and all that kind of stuff. So take your big 4 divisions. You take take your big 5 divisions, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Those 5 teams get in, okay?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you go back to like your, say, SEC, and number 2 would probably be like your Georgia, who would be really good, or your Florida. Yeah. So then they would probably get in as like a 6 seed. So that gives your, say, Pac-12 winner a real competition and this, that, and everything else. Yeah. Now your 7th and 8th seed, I think I don't care of division at that point. I think your 5th seed gets in the best out of the big maybe the best out of the big 5 after that. Then the best record after the big 5 gets the 5th seed, and your 6th, 7, and 8th seed are filled with your best records across the league after that. Because then you're getting another, say, SEC guy that was being considered for that 5 spot anyway. And then your UCF of 2 years ago.
That's why I want 6.
Yeah, that's fair. And see, the 6th spot would go to like another good team in mine. And then your 7th and 8th spot goes to like your Boise State and your UCF of a couple years ago. And it's like, you guys think you honestly deserve to be here? Fine. You go up against one of the 2 big squads, no matter what.
And to me, the 6, I don't want any second place teams. I don't give a damn if you're second in the SEC, but you're the 3rd best team overall. I don't give a damn. I want to see champions of every conference. So Big 10, ACC, SEC, Pac-12, and the Big 12. All their champions go in, and then the champion from that group of 5, whether it's the MAC, the American, any of those, your independents. So if Notre Dame slides back to the independents, they could be in. Your Cincinnati's, your UCF's, your Boise State's, one of those teams gets in.
Yeah, that's not too bad. See, yeah, I do agree that they got to do something, but I know the old heads are going to be like, listen, there's too many playoff games anyway. We can't be having number 4s beat number 1s here, guys. It's just not good for metrics. Like, I don't care. I don't care about the mega.
You're not adding any games. You're just moving bowl games into the playoffs.
Yeah. Like, do you really care about the Fructus Bowl? Like, there's so many damn bowl games. Like, I get that. Like, the kids got to play for something. I get it. Here in Canada, we may not respect it, but like Alex lived close enough to bowl games where he knows all this stuff, and like it matters. Okay, it matters.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
Another NCAA thing. So Darius Geis was an LSU running back. Made it to the NFL, played for Washington. There was a lot of allegations on him when he was in college. There was a couple rape allegations, and then last year there was some domestic violence. So LSU has came out and said all his stats are erased from their record books. Ooh. So if you look at the stats, he's never played there. He's banned from the school. They're just completely done with him. They're trying to get better in the eyes of the community. This is the first step. And now to some CFL news. The CFL return is now August 5th, I believe. It's early August. They're going from 18 games down to 14. Grey Cup is being pushed back. Now it's going to be December 12th in Hamilton. It's all reliant on if they can get fans fully into the stadiums. They've talked even if Ontario can't get the fans, but the West can, move the East teams out to the West until Ontario fans can go back in.
Bring the Argos. Bring the Argos, and I'll cheer for the Argos for a year because they need Ontario people. It'd be like, listen, I have it in my blood. I may hate this damn team, but like I'll cheer for the Argos for a year.
I like that the CFL's coming back. Personally, I do. I know I've played alongside people that are now in there. Know a few people that are in the league now. Like, this is good for those guys to be able to play again. The CFL is mainly being played for the love of the game. You're not making the money that the NFL guys are making.
I would play like if I've always said it, I think it'd be cool, and it would never happen because I would have to like gain a few pounds. But you know, it is what it is. But I would love literally nothing more than to be like an emergency call, like, hey, we're down a wide receiver for a game. Could you come in and be like the seventh man that we just had? I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then one of those guys goes down, and they're like, all right, Andrew, you're in for a bit. It's like, I get a David Ayers card like I got.
And then the last one is a 56-year-old defensive lineman is trying to make a comeback. Darren Burns, it's not for the full season. He's trying to come back and play a preseason game. It would still be cool to see because nobody that old, I think, has ever played in a professional league. I thought that would be something fun to throw in there.
It would it would be dope. I would love to see nothing more. I would get that jersey in a second.
Oh, that would be awesome.
There has been the North Sports Dynasty news update by our newscaster, Mr. Alex Loosemore. Thank you very much, Mr. Loosemore.
No problem.
There's a great shot actually behind me there of all these questions that we're going to be asking on the draft night. So if you guys can see on the board behind me, we got some draft questions already, under and overs, because, you know, we got draft bets every day when we do the show. Excuse me. And my draft bets have not hit that well, but I can tell you that the money has hit well. And I actually have that in front of me. So right now, I currently sit at 30 hits, 45 losses. Obviously, that's not like the best. And I'm doing better. Last night was a better night.
Yeah.
That being said, though, we are plus $40.76 in bets if you were to lay a $2 bet on everything that we put down on the North Sports Dynasty Twitter.
And that's the important one. The record is kind of important. The money is the more important part.
See, for me, as long as the money stays in the positive, I'm just working on the record now. Like, I know the picks that you see at the bottom here today. There's only one underdog for today, and that's that Dallas game. I'm sorry. Like, I love my Red Wings, but I've hammered Dallas the last two games, and I've lost, and I know it's eventually going to hit. So I think that's tonight. Whereas all those that you see, ladies and gentlemen, today are just specifically like, it's really hard to find any good underdogs for tonight, in my opinion. So I took some of these, I took some of the overs. And that's just me. We also got, for you guys, a little bit of Dynasty talk here. So we obviously are a Dynasty show. And next week, when we do the draft, the one difference between us and a few other people is when someone is picked and people talk about like the aspect, like what he's going to bring to the team and stuff like that. We're going to do that. And then we're also going to talk about the Dynasty and what that guy is going to bring to that team. And we're actually going to be updating my board anyway, live on the show of who I think is going to be, like my big board of player rankings. That's what's going to be live up. And so there'll be this board for obviously the people's picks and stuff, where I'll have it on this one and I'll have another live shot. Figured all that because I got the day off. We got the days off.
Did you get Thursday off as well?
No, I got half the day off.
That's better than I got.
Yeah. I leave at lunchtime, so I figured I'd come home and set it all up here and get everybody's all going and stuff like that. So, all right, guys, we got a quick little who'd you rather, eh? Who'd you rather have there, eh? But actually, first, looks like we've had some comments here.
Yeah.
So, there we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? Christopher Cole, thank you for tuning in. The fans have came in. Hi, Alex.
How we doing, Dylan?
The Giants are winning the Super Bowl for the next 2 to 5 years.
I think he means in the next, because if he's maybe closer to 5, I think in isn't necessarily a bad push, especially if they find their quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. And like I've always, anyone can win in any year if you can get the right squad going, but definitely not the Jets or the Jags next year for sure. How about that Ravens and Chiefs trade? Alex was talking about it earlier, broke down the ins and outs of it quick, and it is good. I think it
good
helps,
all around.
Yeah, it helps both sides. The one thing that I've said in my mock draft is I think Baltimore is using those picks to try and get up for someone.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's necessarily, like, a lot of people might think it's a wide receiver, but if you go to my mock drafts, there's a lot of these edge rushers that could also be up there or taken. And there's certain, what I like to call soft spots, and I'll maybe write up an article about those. But every year from the 1 through 32, there's these beautiful soft spots where a certain type of player position is going to get taken. Like, for example, the soft spot this year is obviously 1 through 3 in this draft for a quarterback. Yeah. Now you just got to figure out which one. The other soft spot, you can argue is 5 through 6 for a wide receiver, or 5 through 7 for a wide receiver. You usually want to keep it of increments of 3 picks kind of in a row where you think it would happen. But the other big one this year is pick 20, I think it's 22 through 25. And that's that running back soft spot. And obviously, I don't think that the Ravens are going to take a soft spot running back and trade up to get one in there. I don't think that at all. But these soft spots later on in the draft, what they allow teams to do is kind of get in there, like trade in for a different position, which makes these other teams that are around start to worry. Now, before I get into this is where I think that if any team is going to make a trade for the Bucs pick at number 32, I don't actually think it's going to be for a quarterback anymore. I think it would be a team like the Cleveland Browns, seeing what the Ravens are doing and probably want the same player that the Ravens do. I still haven't seen who it is yet. It may actually be someone like a Tevin Jenkins, just because he's nasty as fuck.
That's why I'm going there.
It could be Gregory Rousseau, because he was like a projected number 1 overall pick. So once you get into these soft spots, that's when you're able to get a real stud that no one has ever thought of. Like, I could be missing out on a couple of other of these players, but this is just off the top of my head. And this is something that I was thinking of just before we got onto the show here. So I think that's what it is. But if they don't, if they're not able to convince somebody to make that trade, then I think they're just taking the best players available. They're going to take the best wide receiver probably at 27, and then just best player available, obviously not tight end, but best player available probably at 31 there. all viewers, please tune into the NFC South. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Might be the most intense subdivision. Dude,
I disagree with that division thing. The most intense is going to be the NFC West.
Ooh.
You've got the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, the Cardinals with Kyler Murray, the 49ers with that loaded defense, whatever quarterback they pick, and then the Rams with Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Matthew Stafford. That's going to be such a fun division to watch.
That one is going to be very, very fun.
It's going to be a gauntlet.
But I'm going to admit, Kyle, and I'll be the first one to admit right now, before the schedule comes out, because I forgot to tell Alex this, and Alex is going to find out during the show. We're going to do our the schedule. When the schedule comes out, we'll obviously talk about it live on the show. And then a week or two, maybe just one, maybe two, we don't know. We'll see how long it takes each of us. But we're going to break down our own team's season and what we think our records will be, what we think our top performers will be, what we think will actually happen, this, that, and everything else. And that is it's not a mock draft, but it's our 1.0. And then we come back to it right at the beginning of the season and we change a couple of things if we think it's going to happen based off of obvious injuries, any trades, acquisitions, this, that, and everything else. And then we lock those in. And then we have you, the fans, obviously, when the season is done, come back and yell at us for how wrong we were. So, and that being said, the one thing I want to say early to that is, if your Falcons do exactly what I think your Falcons are going to do, and that's said in my mock draft there, Kyle, I don't want to play your fucking Falcons any more than I would want to play the Saints. If for some odd reason you can trade back and retool on positions of need for the Falcons
interesting,
with a whole new coaching staff that's coming in there that doesn't give, and I'm going to say this as honestly as I can, Arthur Smith and company do not give a shit about what happened in that Super Bowl. They give a shit about your performance now.
Yep.
And that's the reason
nobody's spotted safe.
Thank you. And Matt Ryan, him maybe a little bit more so, I would think, in this scenario because of the pay cut that he took and this, that, and but man, oh man. If this happens where they can get a Najee Harris and a corner, and that corner is developed, I even wrote that little part in there. If that corner develops and you got to cover Chris Godwin and Michael Thomas and Mike Evans, and you got to make sure that, the Panthers,
Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore.
Exactly. This is the division of wide receivers that you don't really want to screw with. And if you can get a young corner in there and you're grabbing Najee fucking Harris at the tail end of the first round too, and you're only giving up one first rounder that you got from a big trade that Denver did. And even everyone's been asking me about this in the mock draft, because I've had a couple of people like, why would Denver have to give all this up? Falcons do not want to make a trade with the Patriots. The Falcons don't want to make a trade with their division rival in the Carolina Panthers. They don't want to make these trades. And the Broncos think that they can strong arm them, but they're starting to realize, damn it, the Falcons may just either take the pick and take a quarterback and say, screw you guys, or they might do something drastic that'll kind of screw up this whole draft. So we don't know.
Yeah.
But I think if your Falcons do it, it's gonna be great. CFL starts in August. Hells yes. Johnny Dean, thank you for tuning in. What's up, guys? Imperials 99. It's all about money for those bowl game. Money keeps a lot of this is true. I did not remember that. I'm off 29th and 30th. Oh, my boy. So you're going to be tuning in. I like that. Pound that share button. Thank you,
Appreciate
Johnny.
that.
Aldrin, my dude.
How are
you doing? Oh, we got, holy shit, I just noticed Loose Moore's big board. Yeah, I guess I didn't introduce it, but yeah, look at that. He's got himself the big board.
Yeah. I don't have anything on the other side yet. It does go to the other side, but that'll come soon.
I made a joke at work. I can't remember, I think I was talking to the Cody guy. And I said he'll be drunk on the draft show, and you're like go to point at something and you'll fall over. Be like, look at the Dolphins. And I'm gonna be all for it. So we're gonna do a quick thing here. Oh, let me get that out of the way, and then we'll get back to the comments after, because we want to make sure we get into this before we do a little bit of our mock draft.
Yeah, who'd you rather?
Yeah. Who'd you rather Dynasty Edition? So obviously, if you guys don't know, Dynasty is basically owning your players in a fantasy football league year in and year out. So like if you draft Kamara, you only trade Kamara or drop Kamara. And believe me, you can drop Kamara all you want, but then you're just going to make the whole league freak out because everyone's What do you mean? What do you mean John just randomly dropped Kamara? I wasn't on the app when that happened. It's like, yeah, well, you kind of just had to be there. So So we came up with this, a lot of other people do. It's like a who'd you rather, eh? We're going to start talking about Giovanni Bernard. We got 4 players that we want to talk about. These are recent signings. And just wanted to see Giovanni Bernard, now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. When it comes to Dynasty, he is a pass-catching back. I think this is a great pickup, obviously, for the Bucs in real life. But when it comes to the Dynasty aspect, be careful. He's young, but he's not the youngest. He's only got to
hit 30.
Yep. He's got 1 year left on his contract. So if you have a bench spot and you want to use them for your flex, and that's kind of what we're talking about in this aspect, some of the other people that I'll throw at Alex, would you rather have Giovanni Bernard this year? Remember, this is Dynasty, so take your age into respect. And this is not Alex knows what I'm talking about. I was talking to you, the fans there. If you would rather have Giovanni Bernard or Devin Singletary for the Bills,
to me, it's Singletary by a mile. Younger. Right now, he's kind of that 1A or 1B with Zach Moss, unless they do something crazy like my mock draft. Being with Josh Allen, they're going to rely heavy on the run game and use that to feed their pass game. Yeah. So if you have Singletary, who's either 1A or 1B, versus Bernard, who's almost going to be strictly a pass-catching back in their third or fourth back, to me, I think it's clearly Singletary.
Yeah, just because there's nobody else on that roster, and the Buccaneers have Vaughn and Rojo and Fournette still on that roster. So if you're trying to find points every year or every week, your best bet's not going to get it from Bernard.
Yeah.
One person you probably would get points from a little bit more so than Giovanni Bernard in Dynasty aspect, and there's also probably a good pickup for maybe past this year. James Conner signed with the Arizona Cardinals, running back of the Pittsburgh Steelers before. Obviously, he had the cancer problem. He's kind of past that. The Cardinals have gotten rid of Kenyon Drake, who decided to go ruin the Las Vegas Raiders backfield, only because I don't have any of those running backs anymore.
And I have both.
So James Conner is really, really good. He's a starter on other teams. A lot of comparables around the league, but some of the running backs that you would think of that he would be there in when it comes to drafting, because that's basically what we're talking about, is, he would be there around where a Rojo is. He would be there around where your, let's see here. I was going to say Cam Akers, but that's how dumb of I was even to say that. It's one of your, one of those guys that's either a veteran on some of these other teams that's probably going to lose the starting position in the next year or two anyway. So, David Johnson would be another comparable. Yeah. So the real question is, would you rather have James Conner, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette? No, actually, I'm not going to throw Fournette. I'm going to throw Rojo in there just because of the age. So out of those 3 in the Dynasty, would you have Conner, would you have Rojo, or would you rather have the other guys?
I'm going to go with James Conner.
Okay.
In that offense, I know it's going to be an offense that spreads the ball around a lot. You've got Hopkins, and you've got A.J. Green and Christian Kirk, possibly Larry Fitzgerald. Mm-hmm. And then you have, I drew a blank on his name, Chase Edmonds. And then Kyler Murray in the running game, and Conner. There's a lot of mouths to feed there.
Yep.
But I think Conner's going to be that lead back.
Mm-hmm.
And when they run the ball, those read options with Conner and Murray, or just a straight inside zone, outside zone, power run game, I love the idea of Conner, especially with that improved offensive line that they're building there in Arizona. I think that's the move to go.
Mm-hmm. The other 2 that we got here, we got Marquise Godwin is the wide receiver now for the. Why did I not write that down? Where did he go again?
Eagles? I know he was there before. Did he go back to Philly?
I should have. Where? Why? How am I? What the hell? You guys, I'm so sorry. Where is he? The Bears. That's where it is.
Oh, the Bears. Okay.
That's why. So he's on the Bears now. My whole thing is the comparables to that was like a Christian Kirk. I also saw another one where it was like Tyler Johnson for the Bucks, or the other Johnson there on the Chargers. But that other one is like, would you rather have Christian Kirk or Marquise Godwin? For me, you would go Christian Kirk because I think this Marquise Godwin, like, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. So the Allen Robinson is the only thing. Mooney maybe if he's there at the later rounds, but Marquise Goodwin is not someone that I'm looking for, especially in Dynasty, especially because the way that I play is I like if you're going to be on my bench, you're on my bench only for a year, and if you don't contribute, I'm trading you for something. And people may think that's dumb, and it's hurt me in the other league when I had 4 top running backs and I traded all of them just to get a team, and now they have all hurt me deep down, and that's all good. But he's just a slot receiver, guys. He's going to be a bench guy. It's nothing too crazy, this, that, and everything else. But the big one here, this Baker Mayfield 5th-year option signing. So a lot of people were not sold on him just because they weren't sure about if the Cleveland Browns were obviously going to move on from him. He's got some weeks where he's throwing 3 interceptions. He's hurt people. Yeah. So he does have, a higher end Jameis Winston look this year just because Jameis is supposed to be the starter. So, Jameis Taysom, you can throw interchangeable in that one. The other big one, though, was like the Matt Ryan look, and he was getting the Jared Goff look. So out of those 3, obviously based off of age, you go Baker Mayfield. So now the only one. I
disagree.
Oh, would you still take Matt Ryan?
I would still take Matt Ryan.
I mean,
based strictly on the offensive schemes. Cleveland is heavy run, feed Chubb and Hunt, Chubb, Hunt, play action to Landry or OBJ.
Yep.
Atlanta doesn't have that stud running back. They might get it in the draft, but to me right now, if you look at what I did with my mock draft, you've got Julio, you've got Calvin Ridley, you've got Pitts probably at your slot, and Hayden Hurst at your tight end. Mike Davis can be your power run, but you can do all sorts of passing stuff off that. And Tannehill was a borderline top 10 quarterback in the same kind of offense that Arthur Smith runs.
That is true.
I think Matt Ryan's going to go off. He's going to be a sleeper MVP candidate this year. Look out for that.
You're going to have a few people from Bucks Report clipping that, being like, whoa. Actually,
I might have to go on and defend that.
See, Rick Hughes said last year, and I will always hold him to it because he was right, and he always is the Atlanta Falcons are those teams that literally you wouldn't be shocked if they finished 2-14 or finished 14-2.
You're absolutely right.
Because they have that talent, and it's always been there. So
they have the offensive talent.
Yeah.
They don't have the defensive talent
yet. Hopefully they can get it. Now the question to you is: would you rather have Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Easily.
There's
a reason I went and got Sam Darnold in almost every league I'm in. I think he's going to be top notch.
Yeah, I do too. And I do like Baker's, the legs that he can use. The couple of carries a game does help in the dynasty aspect, but when you throw those picks, it doesn't freaking matter, Baker.
See, and to me, it's not a knock on Baker at all. It's just my belief I have in Sam Darnold. Look at some of those plays he made with the Jets with zero talent around him. Now you're going to get a good running back, an improved offensive line, better weapons at receiver. To me, Sam Darnold could potentially be that 8 to 15 range fantasy quarterback this year if he starts.
Yeah. Sam Darnold has the ability to actually be something there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be put in a position like he was in the Jets, where it's like you're going to have to perform, or we will move on, and we're not scared to. And I do like how the Carolina Panthers are in that position. obviously they're, a rival and stuff like that, but I don't mind the Panthers. So, that being said, let's get into these mock drafts. If everybody doesn't know where they are, they're at our website, www.northsportsdynasty.com. Go to the blog articles section and check them out. They're both there. We got The Stretch, which is Alex 3.0.
Yeah.
We got mine, Foobs 3.0. I always write a little like thing at the beginning. I never expect Alex to. It's just it's literally me just expressing the fact that I own a website and I can swear and cuss and do whatever the hell I want because it's my show and it's our show. And Alex sits there like Alex is the calm meditation. Listen to my mock draft.
You might see a different side on Thursday if they pick someone I don't like. Draft night is never a good night for me.
So Alex said at work, I'm gonna hold him to this. He said he would probably leave the show, the live stream, if the Lions picked Kyle Pitts because he would just be so.
I might need to walk away for a couple minutes.
And I was like, "Come on, you'd have 2 great days." No, I'm not doing it. So now we're going to get into them here. So if you guys have had time to go grab them, pull them out. First and second are, the same things that we've had from day one. Trevor Lawrence goes number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Zach Wilson goes number 2. The only change you might see come draft day is going to be Zach Wilson, maybe number 2. It could be Justin Fields, but we're talking like a maybe 3% chance of that happening. But
I'd be shocked. To me, Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft. I'd still be shocked if he goes there.
Yeah,
I would. Zach Wilson seems like the fit there.
Yep. And we both have, which I find funny because we both went into this being like, all right, let's do a mock draft about Trey Lance going here and let's do a mock draft about Mac Jones going here. And we both end up putting Justin Fields at the 49ers because it seems right. It feels appropriate. It seems right to both of us. Because he can sit, and even if he doesn't sit, he will get a chance to start maybe this season for a little bit when they bench Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's one of those things where it's just the elite talent, guys. He is an elite talent, and that could just be one of the reasons why Kyle Shanahan falls in love with him. So,
well, and the same thing to go off the 49ers here. The only move under the Lynch and Shanahan regime that's been leaked before actually happening is Shanahan being the coach.
Yeah.
John Lynch becoming the GM, that came out of nowhere. Trading for Garoppolo, people were talking about it, but it wasn't as open as this Mac Jones thing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these draft news that come out aren't true. They're smoke screens.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like Shanahan truly does like Mac Jones. But to me, you just can't pass up that talent of Justin Fields. He can do everything.
Yeah.
And that's a Michigan fan talking about an Ohio State guy.
Yeah, exactly. The talent is there. I've said it from the beginning. I still think, he is. Oh, excuse me. My quarterback number 2. I just don't think the way that teams view him are necessarily their picking. So, obviously the 49ers, I think after that pro day, they were like, I think this is who I want. So,
well, and you don't trade that far up to get Mac Jones.
Hell no. So that's what we got there. Number 4. This is the only thing that we differ on. But we do both have the Denver Broncos trading up to number 4 with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. The trade would probably look something like Denver sending number 9, 2022 first, 2023 first, and probably just to soften it up like a 2022 4th rounder. Atlanta would send a number 4 back. He has Trey Lance going there, which, man, I just can't, I want Trey Lance to go there just because we have a Broncos fan and it'd be interesting to see how he grows it. I'm not going to give away my strategy. You know my strategy, and if you say my strategy, I will tell you right now, I will make damn sure the strategy happens so you shut your damn mouth.
I won't leak it.
But with that being said, if they get Trey Lance, he's going to sit for a bit. only because they're probably going to give Drew Lock at least one more season. They know that there's a couple of holes that they can fix if they're still low in the draft next year.
The roster isn't necessarily there's a lot of really good players on this roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes. It's just there's a couple of holes on that defensive side. You don't necessarily know how long you got Von Miller at this elite.
I'm shocked he's still there.
I agree. Well, like when Bradley Chubb was drafted, I thought he was gone. Yeah. So, and then see, I got Mac Jones going there. The only reason is I think that Mac, we were talking about this before the show started. Mac Jones's IQ keeps getting talked about a lot. Yeah. And I don't necessarily think, and I know our Bronco guy will probably give me crap for saying this, but I don't think Vic Fangio is going to last past next season. I think they'll grab Mac Jones. They'll see what they got in Drew Lock. They'll probably realize that Drew Lock will go 8-8, 9-7, or if it's a 17-game season, it'll be 8-9, 9-8 at best. And they'll be basically in that limbo period, like the Bucks were, where they're like, okay, we need someone, and give Mac Jones just a year with the playbook. Give him a year just to develop. Give him a year just to understand where he's playing in Denver, like with the air and stuff like that. And you put him with his old teammate in Jerry Jeudy. You give him, not Gallup, the other receiver they got there on the other side.
They've got
Sutton. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. Sutton and Jeudy, and then Patrick and Hamler. Yeah. And all those guys, like that offense is stacked. Mac Jones is basically going to another situation that he had in the last year of Alabama. It's just go take a rest, get bulked up, learn this offense, come back, and here's Alabama for you. That's just
to me the Mac Jones thing. It's the same thing I said about the Justin Fields pick. I don't think you need to trade up to get him. I think Denver, unless New England tries to trade up with Carolina, which I actually have happening, Mac Jones would be there at 9. I truly think so. Mm-hmm. To me, the potential of Trey Lance and that San Francisco pick, I went back and forth for a solid hour on Lance and Fields.
You and me both. Even Mac Jones. Like, I'm still not sold.
I'm out on that. I don't believe it.
Hey man, it may be a smoke screen, but I don't know.
That organization's way too secretive for that to be the case.
You're not wrong.
To me, Lance with that potential, everything that's come out says, like, I know he doesn't have much experience in the college game, but in these interviews they do pre-draft, you're watching tape, you're going over plays, they're explaining plays to you, and then half an hour later you're drawing it on the whiteboard for them. And you have to explain it back to them exactly the way they explained it to you. And Trey Lance is blowing everyone out of the water with this, according to reports. Yep. To me, if you're looking 10 years down the road, this could be the best quarterback out of this draft class. And
me, you, Johnny, there's a few other people. Oh my goodness gracious. There's so many people that agree with that. I even agree. Like, I still think Trevor Lawrence is going to have more of a Peyton Manning type of career and this is not an insult to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was the sheriff and Peyton Manning was great, but he still only won one Super Bowl and he was part of a team for the second one. Okay. Like, I understand he won it. And stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you know what I mean? I mean,
he took 4 different teams to the Super Bowl, like 4 separate years.
Yep.
And the Super Bowl itself is a team thing, so I hate the comparison of that.
Yes. It's fair. But I think it's just Trevor Lawrence is going to probably win the Jags one Super Bowl, and it'll probably be like 8 years down the road. Yeah, but he's not going to win them multiple Super Bowls. He'll be in the conversation for a Hall of Famer later on, kind of like a Phillip Rivers, maybe, but then add a championship to Phillip Rivers, you know? So then that kind of makes him go in there, but it's kind of like, we've seen other quarterbacks do this too, but whatever. Whereas I do think Trey Lance can tear the league up if he is given the opportunity to. So yours is probably more so what is going to happen. I just think this is more, mine is more guessing of what the Broncos would just probably do.
Yeah.
going through here now, I gotta make sure I don't click anything stupid and end all this stuff. He's got Rashawn Slater at number 5 for the Bengals. I got Jamar Chase right back there. And this is literally, guys, we're listening to what everybody's saying, and I'm pretty sure what's saying the most is the picture that's going around on Twitter and stuff of Joe Burrow's scar on his leg, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, offensive line is a great idea.
To me, it's no conversation. To me, you're 1 or 2 pieces away on that offensive line from having a good offensive line. After signing Reed, getting Jonah Williams back, you're right there. Get the stud guy, finish your offensive line, go get a receiver in the 2nd and 3rd round if you want.
Yeah, and I've said that before in another mock draft. The only reason I go Jamar Chase now is because I think the amount of people that are talking about it is and the amount of the higher ups kind of thing. It makes it sound like it's almost inevitable. The Bengals could move back to 7, or 8, with the Panthers and stuff like that, and probably still get Jamar Chase or a Kyle Pitts and stuff like that. But they're not moving, yeah. So it almost seems like they are probably taking. One of the 2 guys that we said, it could be Slater very much so. And if that happens, I'm going to applaud them and be like, you made the right move here.
Yeah.
That also being said, I really do if we saw what the arguably greatest college team of all time did. And now we're going to put those same 2 people on the Bengals and let them go tear up.
He's got to have time to throw the ball to him though.
And hey, who knows? It could even happen in the offseason where the Bengals all of a sudden say, you know what, they're really, really good, and we do have to go make another investment. And they just wait till somebody goes. This is gonna sound so bad, but someone goes and has a DUI, just like the Patriots do. They'll be like, all right, we can get them for cheap now, right? So,
or go get Mitchell Schwartz that's still sitting there, I guess.
Yep. And so you got Jamar Chase falling to the Dolphins at 6, yes. Which would make sense as well. On mine, if the Bengals went your way, I would also do the same.
Yeah.
You're going to put Devontae Parker now. Yeah. We'll have another person on the opposite side, and I think.
And Will Fuller, you're just rocking down the field.
And Jamar Chase, if he was on the Dolphins, I think that just would start blowing up. A lot of people would start buying Chase jerseys out the yin-yang.
And with everyone's been comparing pass catchers to Calvin Johnson in this draft class. A lot of people are saying Kyle Pitts. Mm-hmm. To me, it's Jamar Chase. That really big, really strong, fast, great hands, can go up and get the ball, can do it all. Mm-hmm. To me, that's Calvin Johnson. To me, that's why no matter what, I didn't care that he played last year. There were people saying, well, Devonta Smith was the Heisman winner, all that. Chase was still leagues above him.
Yeah. Go look at what Chase did. Chase was a true
freshman.
Yeah.
Insane.
I got Pitts there, and I even wrote a little bit in there. In my, I have to go back and I have to do what I do, guys. In my my articles, I put the dynasty aspects in there. For some odd reason, it didn't save. You can ask Alex. I got a little pissed.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go put them back in there later. But the one thing I said about Kyle Pitts here is, if Jamar Chase is gone, I don't think they would necessarily want to just settle with having Jalen Waddle. I think the Dolphins could also trade back, but the enticement of Kyle Pitts going there and you having 2 tight ends, but then one tight end that's like a hybrid that can be this slot nether target that literally just, it would suck because, it would make me reconsider my game plan going into our draft if Kyle Pitts were to be drafted by the Miami Dolphins, but it's not far-fetched. I think that this is where the Dolphins would literally just say best player available if they do not get the best draft pick. I think they would tell Dallas at this point, you got to add another first rounder. We're not making this trade. And Jerry Jones would be like, my hands don't get cramped. They're like, yeah, we're hanging up, dude. I'm not listening to this shit anymore. Number 7, you keep your Detroit Lions pick And they just say, screw it. I don't care if we got Jared Goff for the next how many years or a new quarterback. We're going Penei Sewell, offensive tackle for Oregon.
To me, at this point, it's literally just best player available. And in my true player rankings, Sewell's been 2 or 3 the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Just regardless of position, Pitts probably jumped him. I think I'd probably put Sewell at 3, but yeah, this is best player available. This takes an above-average offensive line to an elite offensive line, gives Jared Goff time to throw to Terrell Williams and Rashad Perriman and probably whoever we get in the 3rd round, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to me, you build, especially when we're doing this deep of a rebuild, you build from the inside out. You build your offensive and defensive lines, then you go your skill guys.
And everybody, and I've even said that they'll probably, eventually they'll probably try to trade back and go with a wide receiver or something like that because they need it. And you
more than likely
told me that as well. And I think they'll eventually get a wide receiver in the first or in the late second, or if they do make a trade back, which is what I got. And this was the big one for me here, guys. The big, massive trade that I was teasing and stuff like that.
I love this trade.
The Washington football team, they're at what, number 19? Yeah, that's the thing. So how the hell are they going to get all the way to number 10 without offering, the world? Everyone remember last year's draft when the Indianapolis Colts traded, I think it was pick 14, pick 14, and they got DeForest Buckner, and what that made their defensive line and just defense as a whole. Yeah. Detroit needs players, and Dan Campbell wants men. He wants guys that are going to tear the kneecaps off the enemies. So in this scenario, when I looked at everything, I looked at, the Patriots trading up here. I looked at everything, guys. Washington sends pick number 19, a 2022 first, a 2022 third, and a 2023 first. But the big thing that's the selling point is also defensive tackle Jonathan Allen, a stud defensive tackle that the Lions need, and they're not going to get at number 7. So now all of a sudden they make this trade. Detroit sends pick number 7 and maybe has to send a 6th rounder in 2023 or something like that, just to make it a nice little soft and whatever.
Yeah.
Right after that, Detroit goes and gives Jonathan Allen a 5-year, $98.5 million extension with, I think that would lead it to maybe 63 to 65.5 guaranteed.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And what I looked at is that basically allows the Detroit Lions at that point to have flexibility with the cap and already have some of these major players in line, right, under the cap. And they get multiple first-round picks to continue building this team. And Washington gets their quarterback of the future to go with all of those weapons.
Yeah.
And this is the major selling point here. Yes, they got Fitzpatrick. And I even saw, I think, in the comments here, what is Steven Glasker? Did he say something about it?
Yeah, they've been going back and forth here.
Yeah, there it is. Fitzpatrick sucks. Yeah, I got you. I know. So that's one of the reasons why they do this then, Steven, is not necessarily because he sucks, but because they know that they can deal with one season of having Fitzpatrick and Heineke. And Heineke is going to be a hell of a backup to have for many, many years here.
Especially with Trey Lance. That's the same kind of player.
Trey Lance can sit as your third stringer the whole season, learn this new offense. And we know Rivera is dealing with health issues. We're not going to talk about that necessarily because there's other offensive coordinators that would come in and already be there to take over if something that drastic were to happen. But he's going to be led by Riverboat Ron with all of those fucking weapons that are on that team. Yeah. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. There's more guys that are in the depth.
Logan Thomas has been a good tight end.
And the defense. Chase Young leading that defense. And yeah, you lose Jonathan Allen, you can not say he's replaceable, but you can easily go get another.
There was 3 really good D tackles.
Yeah.
Matthew Ioannidis and Daron Payne are your starting D tackles. You're still sitting pretty.
Exactly. Like if you need someone to go fill that extra role that Jonathan Allen wasn't able to do or was able to do, you can go find it in free agency for $5 million. This
draft in like the third or fourth round. Like
exactly. And so this was my big trade. This is the one that I think I might actually lock it in come draft day if we'll see what happens. I think I might have Washington trading up to number 7, only if Trey Lance is still available there. But then when we go over to number 8 here, you got the New England Patriots trading up with the Carolina Panthers to take Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama quarterback.
Yeah. To me, that's pretty simple. It's Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are pretty much best friends. They run their organizations the same way. One's just signing guys to big money deals. One's recruiting 5-star high school players.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones is going to come in, feel right at home. Probably Cam Newton starts about half the season, and then Mac Jones takes over once he's learned the offense. He's going to struggle a little bit until they get another receiver or two, because yes, they signed Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne and all that. There's no number 1 receiver there. So if the Patriots don't trade up, then they go receiver. But Mac Jones is their guy.
Yeah, this is a good trade. I like the idea of this. In yours, the Patriots, you could run Cam Newton for a year, let Mac Jones learn it as well. You basically can convince Josh McDaniels to stay. You know, it makes a lot of sense, especially with all the tools and stuff that they got already in there. Like they can become a winning squad already with a quarterback that's learning the whole, developing with the squad. That is a good one too. I got Rashawn Slater falling, obviously, down to the Carolina Panthers. So if you got Sam Darnold, now you're going to protect him, because we've agreed and said on this show, the Carolina Panthers offense is better, not much, but better than what it was with the New York Jets. If you can't get your quarterback here at number 8 and you can't get your number 1 wide receiver, take the best lineman off of the board, because I haven't had Penny taken yet, and we're already at number 8. And they could very easily, but they do have a really good, respectable left tackle already. So I figured Rashawn Slater in that middle kind of help it out, and he can also move outside. He's that 5-position lineman that me and Alex like very much so. And this is the reason why I've said before, and I got a lot of shit for it, but I said that the Bucs should take a lineman at 32, and it needs to be a 5-position lineman. I don't care who it is at this point. I don't even care if it's that raw center Minez or whatever. I mean, I kind of do, but that's besides the point.
I mean, the Cowboys did it with Travis Frederick, and that worked out.
That's true. With that trade, we both have Atlanta picking here at number 9. Obviously, in his, we both have them getting a really, really good player at the position. In his, he's got Kyle Pitts falling to number 9 here in Atlanta. I saw that in the comment section. We'll get to the comments here in a bit. We're almost done because we're just going to fly through after the top 10. Because we'll go 5 positions at a time and talk about our favorite in there. Atlanta getting Kyle Pitts. This all of a sudden would hurt my trading in a different league for Julio. But you want to talk about Atlanta all of a sudden getting back to literally being the fucking Falcons of before and being a little bit more scarier. Like, oh, I don't want this at all. But oh my God. And then, I think you gave Kyle a shout out in your mock draft article about this as well.
Yeah, in our Dynasty group chat there, I kicked it to the curb as soon as he said it. I was like, no way in hell. And then the way this was falling, and then the fact that I traded them back, I was like, yeah, okay. At 9, it's a little better. Yeah, 9 is for even though he's more an offensive weapon, tight end is his listed position is still a little too high. Mm-hmm. But at 9, I feel more comfortable with that.
And I got J.C. Horn being picked here. This is a cornerback out of Virginia, which would be the first one off of the board. He's climbed. I originally had Patrick Surtain here. He's climbed so high that his nastiness, dude. There's a couple of these guys in this draft that are just so nasty.
He reminds me of Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
He really does.
Him and Asante Samuel are going to be some fun corners to watch, man. Oh, my God. So Atlanta, and the reason I say it here is because you get Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Michael Thomas to cover and develop from. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah. And he's going to have to take his bumps, which is good.
For sure. And then speaking of Patrick Surtain, you've got him at number 10 going to the Cowboys. That's just a plug and play. Like, they need it.
Well, and the main thing there for me was chemistry, too. Their other corner is Trayvon Diggs. Mm-hmm. They played together at Alabama.
So now all of a sudden you got two Alabama guys in that backfield, and you know for a fact that Jerry Jones likes to have winning players on his squad. So, yeah, no, I agree. I got Penei Sewell going there, and that just – did we not just have the best offensive line before? Did Dak Prescott not just break his fucking leg? Yeah, Penei Sewell, offensive line, Oregon. I don't get cramps writing checks. Like, gee, shut up, Jerry Jones. Like, I know a lot of people would say, you know, grab the next corner here and stuff like that. But, man, if Penei was available here for the Cowboys, I don't even think it's a question.
Yeah, I don't know how you can pass it up.
No. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go 11 to 15 and basically just talk about who we think the biggest one in here. So I will just name off what Alex has got. So he's got the Giants taking Elijah Vera Tucker. He's got the Eagles taking Jalen Waddle. I also have that. Los Angeles Chargers taking Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. Minnesota would fall and have Devonta Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama. Damn. And then Carolina being there at number 15 would land Micah Parsons, linebacker from Penn State. That is fucking, hey, that would be sick.
There's your Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, no doubt. So out of those five that you got there, what's the biggest one that you think these fans should watch out for?
Devonta Smith. I hated typing that one out. But if he can be your Robin to Justin Jefferson's Batman, Kirk Cousins is going to have a field day. And then Adam Thielen in the slot, like that offense is going to be insane. And to have Smith and Jefferson together for at least 4 years, like, man. No.
Kirk Cousins wouldn't want to leave. He would just, no, you can't leave. I don't want to go. So then on mine, I got the New York Giants actually taking Micah Parsons, Philadelphia Eagles taking Jalen Waddle, as we said. Los Angeles Chargers would land Patrick Surtain. Minnesota Vikings would take Christian Darrisaw. And then I got the New England Patriots landing Devonta Smith. As much as I would like to say, like, if you go look up my little write-up on Devonta Smith landing to the Patriots, the Dynasty write-up I'll have on there later on is just basically he's the best Swiss Army knife. But here, I'm going, like, honestly, Micah Parsons, if he actually goes to the Giants here, because he is a linebacker and an edge, and they need help on that defensive side. And I think that they've already got the Giants. You know, they can add more offensive line if they really wanted to. Like, grabbing a Darrisaw here wouldn't be that bad. But, man, they need to build this defense back to the way that it used to be, and they need to get on these quarterbacks, and they need to do something.
Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. And this guy coming in here to learn with Leonard Williams and company, I think would be a great thing to do.
Yeah. And whether you put him as, like, your middle linebacker or off the edge, like, that's insane.
Yeah, like, he becomes this – I've seen his tape, and this is going to sound dumb, and I'm not trying to be a homer here, but he can be this weird Shaq Barrett type of edge rusher, but also like a Levante David type of linebacker for you at the same time. So going back to stretches 16 to 20 here, he's got the Cardinals taking J.C. Horn from South Carolina. Kwity Paye falls to the Raiders at 17. Even they couldn't fuck that one up.
Yeah.
The Dolphins at 18 would take Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle out of Michigan. You still have Washington football team drafted at number 19, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the linebacker from Notre Dame. I know that name already because I've said it so many damn times now. And the Chicago Bears landing Caleb Farley, the cornerback from Virginia Tech. Tell the fans the biggest one we got out of those ones, because to me it'd be Kwity Paye. But what do you got?
I disagree. As much as I'm a Michigan guy, I disagree. It's a toss-up between Owusu-Koramoah and Caleb Farley. and to me, I'm leaning Caleb Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're looking at a pure talent standpoint, Farley is the best corner in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the back injury. He had 2 back surgeries in college, so everyone's kind of scared it's causing him to drop. They did the medical checkups in Indy that they do every year right before the draft, and it came back clean.
Yep.
They feel like he's going to be ready to go for training camp. To me, that's an absolute steal, especially after you lost Kyle Fuller.
Yeah, which was random, but in mine, I got Farley at 16 to the Cards, only because the other 2 were taken early. Yeah. Raiders go a little high here. I even said, the Raiders are reaching again in my little write-up with Landon Dickerson from Alabama. I got Elijah Vera Tucker falling to the Dolphins at 18. The Lions, after making that trade, get their Michigan boy and Kwity Paye at 19, and the Chicago Bears would land the big nasty Tevin Jenkins, offensive lineman from Oklahoma.
Okay.
Me in here, the Landon Dickerson one is literally just they're going and grabbing an Alabama kid and stuff like that and just plugging him in there because they need offensive linemen. But this Kwity Paye, guys, if we're literally just talking everything that I've just said in this mock draft, you're now going to have Jonathan Allen, the edge rusher that you guys already have, which is
Okwara.
Yeah, Okwara.
Well, we have Okwara and Flowers, which I would actually slide into D tackle.
There you go. And then all of a sudden you're going to add Kwity fucking Paye to that line.
Man, the last time we were really anything successful, we went like 11-5 or whatever. We had the number 2 defense. And it was all because we had Sue and Farley and Ncaa and Vandenbosch.
So now all of a sudden you've built the defensive line, and it's a young defensive line. The Lions would build the defensive line young right off of the bat. And now you can take every last damn draft pick that you guys got, and you can go trade it for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
No, just if all that comes out to be negative and stuff like that, instead of talking about these teams, like the Seattle and Chicago and blah, 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 Detroit may start looking pretty intriguing to some of these other guys. So that's why for me, if Kwity Paye falls to the Lions at 19, people would be fucking dumb to allow that to happen.
I'd be so hyped.
So then to go back to do 21 to 25 here for Mr. Alex, he's got the Colts taking Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Titans taking Asante Samuel, corner out of Florida State. The Jets taking Travis Etienne. We both have that at number 23. The Steelers taking Gregory Rousseau at 24, and the Jaguars taking Samuel Cosme. He hasn't changed that one. Offensive tackle from Texas. Tell the fans the big one out of that one you think that's going to be a major starter.
To me, it's clearly Asante Samuel. Right now, the only legitimate corner on their roster is their first-round pick from last year, Christian Fulton. Mm-hmm. They let what's his name? Desmond King walk to the Texans, and then they released Malcolm Butler and then Dory Jackson.
There we go. Yeah.
So you've got 3 corners to replace. Mm-hmm. Why not go get the best one on the board now? Like you said, he's that fiery guy. Mm-hmm. He's going to amp up that defense. He can do it all. To me, that's just a home run pick there.
So then on my side, I got Samuel Cosme actually going to the Colts. Titans get Greg Newsome, the second quarterback out of Northwestern. The Jets take Travis Etienne, obviously running back out of Clemson there. And the Atlanta Falcons, I have making a trade to 24. And the Jags taking Trayvon Moehrig, safety, at 25. The big one the big one here for me is 24. But I just want to touch on that Jacksonville. That safety would be like having a Luke Kuechly if they make that pick there, because they can easily trade back and still get players that they want. But this Trevon Moehrig is going to hurt the draft boards come draft day.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing though. I got my boy Kyle Yacy's team trading up back into the first round to get that 5th-year option on a running back. The trade I got is Atlanta sending number 35, 2022 second, and a 2022 third, and a 2023 6th rounder. Pittsburgh sends pick number 24. So at least Pittsburgh gets to, still draft in the next, 9 to 10 picks. They take Najee Harris, running back from Alabama. Yeah.
Wow.
So once Travis Etienne comes off the board, I think Atlanta sits there and says, you know what? We just got a bunch of picks from Denver. We can afford, just like Detroit was thinking, we can afford to lose one right now and still get the player that we want. And as I wrote in here, it's Najee fucking Harris on the fucking Falcons. That's all that needs to be said. You got Julio, you got Calvin Ridley, you got slot receivers, and now you're going to have Najee Harris sitting there. When he can't do shit, let him run it for 32 damn times a game. And oh my goodness gracious, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that at all. Ugh. So we're just going to continue on. So we're going to go the last stretch here. We're going to go 26 all the way to 32. So you got Cleveland taking Javon Collins, linebacker from Tulsa. Baltimore there with Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. You got Jamie Newman, quarterback, going to the Saints at 28. That's an interesting one. I like that. Kadarius Toney, 29 to the Packers. Still, I like that. Buffalo Bills getting Najee Harris would be an interesting one at number 30. The Ravens again getting Taven Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma at 31. And then you got my Bucks taking Christian Barmore at 32, defensive tackle out of Alabama. Tell the fans, out of those 7, which one should they be more scared of, or which one would be the biggest splash in the NFL?
To me, like, the biggest splash is probably going to be Harris to the Bills or Toney to the Packers. I think the most important one here, though, looking at it, is Zaven Collins from Tulsa. I was watching tape on some linebackers, and man, I fell in love with this guy. He can do it all. He's that 4-3. You can put him in the middle. I would say go outside. Yeah. Rare size and athleticism. Like, he can do it all. He can go make those tackles on the edge. He's big enough, strong enough that he can fight on the inside, shed off those blocks, and go make the tackle. He's good in pass coverage. He's really manipulative in pass coverage. Mm-hmm. He'll look the quarterback off and make him think that, oh, it's safe to throw here, and then he just jumps in the lane, picks it off. Like, to me, the only weakness really on that Cleveland Browns team is that that linebacker core. So to me, if you get Zaven Collins, that's a home run here.
Yeah. Some good picks you had at the back end there, dude, man. Damn. For me here, I got Cleveland at 26, taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I just said I could say the damn word. Baltimore, we both have Rashad Bateman being taken at 27. 28, I actually got Terrence Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, to the Saints. Packers taking Christian Barmore, defensive tackle out of Alabama at 29. I got Gregory Rousseau, edge from Miami, going 30. Asante Samuel being there for the Ravens at 31. And Azeez Ojulari, edge from Georgia, at 32. The biggest one here, besides, like, to all my Bucs fans who I know will watch this and stuff, I do agree. And I've been one of the proponents of saying we should trade back and get some more. If there's a way that we can get a first or a second rounder in 2023, that's the direction to go. I don't care if we get deep picks. I want that first or second round pick in 2021 or 2022. That's the way I want it, because we're not building for now, and we're not necessarily building for the year after. We're protecting ourselves for the year after that, when we inevitably have to play all these dead capped contracts. So I think trading back is a good idea, but man, if Azeez Ojulari is there, you want to have 2 type of Shaq Barretts on this team. Yes, he's going to have to develop. And Johnny Dean's going to be one of that guys that's going to scream it from the mountaintops. They're like, these guys will have to develop. And he's right. But Shaq Barrett developed behind Von Miller.
He got the time.
He got like 4 years to develop behind Von Miller and Bradley Chubb and all those guys. And he wasn't even a thought of. And we got him for cheap. And look what he still did, because he developed into it.
Yeah.
Azeez would be able to just kick some ass for the Bucs if he was available. But the big one for me here is our cross-division rival. If they got Terrence Marshall.
Oh, man.
Talk about dynasty. Like,
that's your number 2 receiver in that offense.
And now all of a sudden Michael Thomas can go off.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing is now all of a sudden your offense consists of Kamara, Michael Thomas, Terrence Marshall Jr., whose dad also played in the NFL, and Troutman as your tight end.
Yeah.
Like, that is not a pushover offense. Like, I understand that we don't understand who's going to be the quarterback. A lot of people think Winston, and a lot of people think Taysom. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you either which way, but either who goes in there, if they get Terrence Marshall, they get another wide receiver. Like, damn. It just, especially a possession one. It doesn't need to be a tool guy like Kadarius Toney or Elijah Moore or anything like that. Like, Terrence Marshall is just an all-around possession good wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he's healthy. And he got overlooked in college because his teammate in college was Jamar fucking Chase.
And Justin Jefferson. Like,
yeah. So if you give him some time and you let that offense shine, I think that is going to be the one major contribution out of all those last 7 picks that we said. Ladies and gentlemen, that becomes the conclusion of the first round. If you want to know what our picks were for the second round for Alex, I believe Alex just did second round.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did third round. Third round was just a play around round as well for me. I just kind of did it for, shits and loggles. But the second round and the third round is where our bread and butter are going to be. So that's why we're going to be live draft day for the second and third round. And we are going to love that draft. I love second and third rounds here.
Oh yeah.
So let's go talk to our fans before we leave here. I gotta go.
We got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Trevor Lawrence is going to be another stat for why you don't get overexcited about it. Me and Johnny in 5 years are going to have a podcast about all the things we said the last 5 years. What about Mac Jones? He's Brady. That goes back to a show. Nobody's Brady-esque. Davis Mills is the only Luck-esque, and I will have nothing out of it. Nothing. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Whoever it is, we got to get him. I think she's a Falcons fan as well. She's a Bucks fan. I believe Teresa likes all the teams in that division. I'm not too sure. I got to go back to the show and ask her that. Stop it, Steven. Fitz is best. Where does Carolina pick? They pick at number 8. And the last time that Carolina picked at number 8, they got Christian flipping McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And as I've told Alex, if I could have the number 8 pick in every draft until the day I die, I think I could build you a sexy team because the last few years have been amazing. TJ Hawkinson, Isaiah Smith, Christian McCaffrey, and the list just keeps going. Fitzpatrick sucks. No, he doesn't. I mean, whatever.
He's a middle tier quarterback.
Yeah. Johnny Dean, Fitzpatrick can bite my nose. Come on, everybody wants Fitz on their team. Look how many he's been on.
Yeah, he's been on like half the teams in the league.
Kyle Pitts is the top player in this draft, hands down. That is true. It's a miscreant invasion, which I'm totally okay with. I love my miscreants, and they're going to love me even more so pretty damn soon. That's a little teaser for you guys. I hope Washington changes his name back to Redskins and tells the NFL to blow them. Steven, this is where me and you will disagree. And this isn't just because I'm younger in the middle of it and stuff like that. I got no real issues with the name necessarily. I know a lot of people do. I think it's not you or any Washington fan or anything like that takes it in this way. But there is a group of people that use that to express certain other things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to in just a normal conversation. That is a conversation that hasn't been brought up to certain people on the internet in a while. There is a broader conversation that happens with just some of these names. I'm not gonna give you crap or anything like that. You're a fan of this show, and every fan of ours has the right to say whatever they want and stuff like that. We're never gonna give you guys shit unless you talk bad about my Red Wings. Our Red Wings. There's just a thing that goes around with the name, and if it means that we get to rebrand the name, I'm all for it. Now, if you're gonna say that we can no longer sell, say some of the older cards, or if you got to go back on tape and remove the logo, that's where I think you start getting a little too much. Yeah. So that's where I would agree with you there. But it's also going to be really cool when Jeff Bezos buys that team and he's like, we're going to call it Washington Amazons. So fuck all y'all. Watch it. We're friends. And that's the thing. Everybody's allowed to say what they want here. And as long as, and Alex is getting used to treading through these waters on live. And that's why I usually will take this. Don't you guys worry. I've been through this. I've been hated on. Alex knows it. Yes, Mac Jones is the man. Why would anyone trade up for Mac Jones? Position-wise, that's all. And you know that too, Johnny. I think it's mostly, you get worried because you start seeing some of these other guys fall off and you're like, okay, take my first rounders.
Well, and see, here's the thing too. I said earlier, would I trade up for Mac Jones? Absolutely not.
Nope.
But I think when you see the 4 quarterbacks come off the board and other teams that need quarterbacks, I think New England gets scared and trades up.
Yeah, that's where I do think it starts happening. Johnny Dean, you're going to end up being wrong about Mac Jones. I'm really looking forward to that.
I don't think he is. I think Johnny's right.
See, and it's interesting because I actually think Mac Jones will be good. It has to be depending on where he goes, right? Should be a late second pick. And again, if there wasn't this media hype and some of that kind of stuff, he would be in that Kyle Trask situation and people would be talking about the top 4 and then maybe someone would trade with the Bucs at 32 to grab him. But
yeah.
That's not what we're in. Sorry, Stephen Glasgow. I used to love you. I still love you, though. Hey, we're just having a fat conversation in there. Yeah. You guys are awesome. I agree with the Patriots taking Mac Jones, even if it's at 15. There you go. Belichick likes smart players, and that's the biggest thing that Alex was selling it on, and that's the reason why I thought the Broncos would trade up is to be like, nah, screw the Patriots. I don't have a clue who the Falcons would select. Not enough information on the coach for me. Well, the thing is, like, Arthur Smith could want to get a quarterback in there that's just, his. Yeah. But we don't know, and they have that pick. So, been wrong before, but never wrong about a Bama QB.
I mean, if you can tell me the last time a Bama quarterback was good, we can sit and have the conversation. But
hey. Johnny and you aren't wrong. I'll give you guys that. I'll give you that. Tua was a Bama QB, and I think he'll be pretty good. But see, that'll just fall into Johnny's point where we have to see if he's good yet.
Exactly. And I'll throw Jalen Hurts in that. If he ends up being good, he was an Alabama quarterback.
That's true.
But we have to wait and see.
Exactly. I think the draft goes OT, opens up with receivers and the stronger prospects simply because of depth position. The weaker position will go first after a couple of QBs are cleared out. Also a good point. Yep. I'm not sold on Tua, but he is the best spot. But he is in the best spot for him to have some success. Yes. There is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if he was put in, and this is just like say Seattle and Miami made that trade for Russell Wilson and Tua, and a couple of picks and here and there and stuff like that. I think Tua would flourish in Seattle, but. It's all based on just where these players are at right now.
So. I don't think he would behind that offensive line. Russell Wilson moves around way more than Tua ever would.
Listen, you're going to make Johnny more of a fan of you, if anything. Like, you and Johnny can be Bucs need to trade back. We agree on that. Understand that thinking, but I still think the first 4 picks will be QBs, and that's where we are all kind of thinking as well. The biggest splash would be the Bucs trading half of their picks to move up for Pitt. Oh,
pull a Ricky Williams trade.
We don't need it. You want to see me leave the live stream, guys? Let's
push for it to happen.
Oh no. Can we not push for Kyle Pitts to the Bucs? We don't need that in my life. Not gonna happen. Yeah, with the OJ hat. Like, no. Bye-bye. What Reese said. I'm just here until Alex laughs. You get it. Bucs. Oh, man, Andrew, don't piss me with the Falcon crap. Right, Andrew, Johnny has a huge issue with that name. Alex, be afraid. Be very afraid. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a very smart player. He is. He's from –
He went to Harvard.
I was going to say Stanford, but behind that O-line and say, yeah. See, why don't you guys just go have your own conversations alone? I'm going to start losing Johnny as being my fan. He's going to go talk to you, and I'm going to be like, hey, how did we get this for the show? He'd be like, oh, Johnny sent it to me. I'd be like, oh, cute. Anyways, guys, this has been our basically 2-hour, this is dope, 2-hour long mock draft 3.0 special. Thank you to all the fans that tuned in today. We have our mock drafts, and we're going to keep them up on our site. We'll go back to them every year. Like, we're going to play more games and do more segments where we talk about how we get to these points, how we start marking off players and stuff like that. How we even start thinking of this, because most of this is, like we've said before, this is all media. This is all what, people are saying, what teams are starting to relay out there. And it's just being knowledgeable. Me and Alex are, respectively young, and we listen to both young guys and old guys, and young ladies and old ladies who have been around for a long time, have been around for a short time, because, Johnny's been around for, just as young as us, and he's been around, and he's seen these kind of stuff. So he knows, about the Alabama quarterbacks, for example. Those are the kind of things that we take into consideration when Joshua Cole Allen drops his mock drafts. That's something that I take massive consideration in, because he's talking to these guys, right? These mock drafts are going to be put there and live on forever, and we can get to go back and laugh at them later on after the draft.
That would be a fun thing to do.
That's going to be a fun segment that we get to do. You guys, though, coming in here, being the fans, like I said, this is an NFL show. This is a hockey show. We talk baseball time to time. We talk basketball. Alex does the news updates for basically everything. We are a sports show. Our major things, though, that we do here is Dynasty and mock drafts. We are coming up in May. We've got mock drafts for NBA, NHL. We'll have our first ones coming up towards the end of May, probably, when the standings are respectively there. Remember, lotteries piss us off when it comes to mock drafts. So what we will probably do is just do basic standings until obviously the real ones come out. We got the NBA and NHL playoff previews coming up here on a couple of shows in May and June. NFL schedule drop. So once that schedule drops, the next week or week after, we will have 2021-2022 Buccaneer season prediction and Detroit Lion season predictions with full stats. Like I said, it'll be our 1.0. We'll come back right at the beginning of the season with our 2.0s and our locks, and we'll see how much has changed. And remember, on draft day, we're giving away these two jerseys already ready in a box for you guys. The gig 'em on there of the Josh Reynolds and a Cam Newton with the Captain C on the jersey, and your choice of draft hat can be yours if you fill out our draft bracket, which we do have to update. So number 31 is
Baltimore.
No longer Kansas City at 31. We will take that out there. A few people have reached out and said, can I just put 1 through 32 on a page and blah, blah? Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
As long as you send us something for draft day by 12 o'clock our time on draft day. So all you people on the East Coast, that'd be 2 o'clock your time.
Yes.
As long as you send it to us by then, not a minute later, because I swear to God, I will not have you in our thing if you send it a minute later. You have until then, and then you are in the draft or in the draw, the giveaway, the contest, whatever you want to call it. We'll be having a live show. We'll be live for basically the whole draft. If we get cut off, because I think we will get cut off at 3 or 4 hours. If we have to come off for the end of the draft, because he will have his Lions and I will have my Bucks at the end of the draft. So we'll have to come back, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the next day we will also be live for that second and third round, which will go by a little bit faster. And we will have Dynasty talks about that. We will also be talking early Kraken, Seattle Kraken, fantasy draft, expansion draft.
Yeah.
We'll have our picks, early picks about who we think is going to be in there and more, like the CFL, XFL, fantasy merger draft that we will eventually get off. I am working literally on that. I started working on that this weekend. It's going to be fun. We're going to get some other folks to come in and do it with us once we have more free agents and all that kind of fun crap. We got a lot of stuff here for the off season, guys and ladies. So thank you all for tuning in. This is a great show. No player in this draft be more than a third stringer. That's true.
Yeah.
3, and it's been fun. Thank you all again. We appreciate all the shares, all the likes. Pound those share buttons. Follow Alex on Twitter at
Loosemore65.
And where else can they find you?
On Facebook, just plain Alex Loosemore. Post from time to time on the North Sports page. Yeah, that's it.
You can find me at Andrew_Faubert on Twitter. We also, both of us post through the North Sports Dynasty page. So it could be either me, it could be him, both on Twitter and Facebook. You can find those. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. The subscriptions really help, guys. If we can just get a few more likes on our page. On our page, we were at 96, I think. We're at 96 likes.
That's awesome.
Share it away. If we get to 100, we will have a giveaway for the 100, not for the 100th person, but we'll have the 100 people who are in our group and have liked it. We'll put them in a draw, and we'll give away something for them once it hits that. Thank you all for tuning into our 2-hour show. It's been fun. I'm going to piss and all that other fun stuff. Thank you all. We'll talk to you next week, Thursday, Friday, for the draft specials. Ciao, ciao for now. North Sports Dynasty out.